My mother-in-law thought my wedding dress was just quick cash, but she didn't realize she was trading her entire life for it. By the time I'm done, her credit is gone, her credentials are deleted, and her digital footprint is erased. Today, she learns what it's like to become a ghost. What do you do when someone steals your most precious heirloom? You don't call the police, you delete their existence. I'm systematically overwriting every trace of the woman who betrayed me until she no longer exists to the outside world. This isn't just a lesson, it is a total social erasure. She sold my legacy for a few $100s, so I decided to redirect hers into oblivion. From wiping her professional history to scrubbing her identity from the web, I am showing you exactly how I turned a thief into a stranger. Watch how I replaced her identity with a void. The dress wasn't expensive, at least not according to a jeweler. It wasn't covered in diamonds. It wasn't designed by some famous fashion house. But to my family, it was priceless. My grandmother stitched it by hand after surviving breast cancer. My mother wore it. My older sister wore it. Every woman in my family added something small to it. A pearl, a ribbon, a tiny embroidered flower hidden inside the lining. When I got engaged, my mom cried before I even tried it on. She said, "Now it's your turn." I kept it sealed inside a preservation box until the wedding. Only one person besides me had a key to the house, my husband, or so I thought. 3 weeks before the wedding, I opened the closet. The preservation box felt strangely light, empty. At first, I thought I had moved it. Then I searched every room, every cupboard, every spare bedroom. Nothing. I called my fiancé. He came home immediately. We searched until midnight. Nothing. Then his phone rang. It was his mother, Linda. She walked into our house carrying groceries, acting completely normal. When she saw me crying, she frowned. "Oh, you noticed?" My heart stopped. "Noticed what?" She shrugged. "The old dress. I sold it." Silence. I laughed, not because it was funny, because my brain refused to process the sentence. "You what?" She rolled her eyes. It was just sitting there. I found a vintage collector online. $600. I figured you'd thank me later. $600. That was the price she placed on 4 generations of women. But that wasn't the part that changed everything. It was what she said next. She smiled. "I already bought you a better dress." Then she held up a bright white designer gown. Beautiful, expensive, completely wrong. She looked proud. As the groom's mother, I thought I should choose something worthy. That's when I understood. This wasn't about money. It was about control. She didn't steal a dress. She tried to rewrite my family. My fiancé exploded. "You had no right." She crossed her arms. "I was helping." Then she delivered the sentence that ended our relationship forever. "This family starts with my traditions now. Not hers, mine. Mine didn't matter. The police couldn't help much. Technically, it was complicated. She had access to the house. There wasn't enough evidence for immediate action. The collector had already resold the dress. The trail disappeared. For days, I barely slept. Then, my grandmother called. She didn't cry. She didn't yell. She simply asked, "Is the dress gone?" I whispered yes. She paused, then said something I'll never forget. If she wanted to replace our history, replace hers. At first, I thought Grandma meant revenge. She meant something much smarter. Linda lived for appearances. She chaired charity events, hosted community galas, organized weddings. Everyone knew Linda, or they thought they did. She constantly reminded people about her accomplishments, her perfect family, her refined taste, her social status. She believed reputation was everything. So, I decided not to attack it. I decided to outgrow it. Quietly, patiently, I volunteered for every charity Linda ignored. I restored vintage wedding gowns for free. I started documenting forgotten family heirlooms online. Each story reminded people that memories mattered more than money. Within months, local newspapers wanted interviews. Museums asked me to help preserve historical garments. Wedding planners began recommending me. Sponsors called. Community leaders noticed. Every event Linda expected to headline, someone asked for me instead. Oh, we already invited Emily. We don't have room for another speaker. Her invitations became mine. Her introductions became mine. People started saying, "You're the woman preserving family history, right?" Not Linda, me. She still didn't understand. She thought it was coincidence. Until the gala. Every year, Linda hosted the Heritage Foundation fundraiser. It was her favorite night, her kingdom. This year, the organizers made one small announcement. For the first time, our keynote speaker will be Emily, me. I stepped onto the stage. Behind me, a slideshow played. Not of expensive gowns, not of celebrities. Just ordinary women, wearing dresses filled with family memories. Then I told them my story. Not names, not accusations, just truth. Someone once believed an heirloom was worth only $600. The real value wasn't the fabric. It was the generations sewn inside. The room became silent. People understood, without ever hearing Linda's name. After the speech, people approached me. One after another. Donations poured into preservation programs. Volunteers signed up. Local television interviewed me. Across the ballroom, Linda stood alone. Nobody confronted her. Nobody shouted. They simply stopped gathering around her. Within weeks, 3 organizations replaced her leadership position. Sponsors chose different ambassadors. Wedding planners quietly stopped referring clients, not because I destroyed her, because everyone finally saw who she really was. Her image collapsed under its own weight. Remember when I said, I replaced her identity? Here's what I meant. She still had her name, her driver's license, her house, her bank account, but the identity she cherished. The respected matriarch, the trusted community leader, the guardian of tradition, was gone. When people searched for preservation projects, they found me. When families wanted advice, they called me. When charities needed leadership, they chose me. Everything she wanted to be remembered for now belonged to someone who actually respected family history. She hadn't disappeared. She had simply become irrelevant. A ghost inside her own social circle. Months later, an elderly woman contacted me. She had purchased a vintage wedding dress at an estate auction. Something inside the lining caught her attention. Tiny embroidered flowers, hidden pearls, hand stitching. It was my grandmother's work. The dress had come home. When I handed it back to my mother, she cried exactly like she had the day I got engaged. Only this time, they were tears of relief. We repaired the small damage, added one more embroidered flower. Mine, a reminder that history can be torn, but never erased, unlike reputation. That is much harder to stitch back together. If someone sold your family's greatest heirloom for a few $100s, what would you have done? Would you have forgiven them, or let life teach them the lesson they deserved? Tell me in the comments. And if you enjoy revenge stories where justice is smarter than anger, subscribe, because next week's story might make this one look merciful.